loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going through my entire TBR, and I'm talking everything that is on my TBR cart. I want to go through every single book, and I also want to clarify which ones are going to be on my summer TBR, which is me hoping that I'll get to all of these books by the end of summer. The rest of these, some are in the graveyard, they've been there for a while. Some may not come out. As we all know, book buying is a completely different hobby to book reading. Yeah, some of these I just like to own, but I don't think I'll ever get to them. Maybe one day. I just know I'm going to prioritize new releases that are coming up this summer, and also books that I've had that I've got my eye on. Is that just me, or is that other people? Comment down below if you do that as well. We should probably start with the graveyard. Okay, I've just taken all the books out from this side of the shelf so that I can put them back in once I've showed you what's been in the back end. That doesn't sound right. What is on the graveyard side of my TBR cart? So we do have The Grave Effect by Elle Kennedy. I have been told that this is not a standalone series. Well, it technically is, but it's best to read her other series. I don't know the name of it, but the first book is The Deal. So I need to read that entire series before I go into this, because there are cameos of those characters as adults, with this now being the children of that series. So I don't want to mess things up and not understand the jokes and the relationships of all the books. I do want to read that first, but I know that there are quite a few books in that series, so it may take me a while to get to it. This one has been put in the graveyard until then, because I don't want to ruin this book, and I've heard that this one's really great. The next book that is in my graveyard is a book that is in a series that I'm currently reading. I've not got to this book yet. I still need to buy the other two books in between. I've finished Daisy Hates, and I now need to read the second Magnolia Parks book. So I have book 3, 4, and this book to read, but I don't own the physical books for 3 and 4. So this one's in the graveyard until I get to it. But I did find this for like £5 in a shop, and I was like, I have to get it. I've already got the other 2 books of this cover, and I need to own this for the series. So yeah. Similar to those, I also have put these 2 books in the graveyard. We have A Gathering of Shadows and A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. They are both there because the other book is on the other side for the first book in the series, and I thought I don't need book 2 and 3 on the other side while I'm not reading them. So these are in the graveyard for that reason, and that reason alone. Again, we do have the Crescent City books. The first 2, I don't own the third one because I'm going to wait till it's out on paperback, but I'm still reading Throne of Glass, and I'm going to wait till I finish Throne of Glass before even starting Crescent City. So these 2 are in the graveyard. These next 2, technically my dad bought me the second book in the series, so I had to buy myself the first book in order to make sure that I can actually read the series. But I just don't think I'll ever get to them this time of year, especially in summer. Like, these are not summery fun reads. My dad bought me like my dad bought me the Testaments, and I was like, you know, this is part of a series, right? And he's like, no, I just thought you'd like the cover. And then I was like, well, I have to go get The Handmaid's Tale now. And I was like, do you know what the series is about? He's like, no, I just saw the cover and I liked the color. I was like, okay, thanks, Dad. Yeah, they're in the graveyard, even though it's such a cute gesture for him. I just don't think it's the right time of year for me to be reading these. The Atlas 6, this is in the graveyard. The reason being, I haven't liked Olivia Blake's other books, and I just am not reaching for it. I've had this book for quite a while now, and I don't think it's in like the forefront of my mind to ever be picking up. So she's in the graveyard. Olivia Blake and me just don't have a good relationship right now. I don't really like her style of writing. I did read Masters of Death, and it just wasn't for me. I have Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. I'm just never reaching for this. Honestly, I bought it from a thrift store and it was really cheap. I think it was £1, and then I've just never reached for it ever. I don't even think about this book. I don't even remember that I have this half the time. Graveyard. Now, these books that I have here are not technically graveyard. I would just say I didn't have room on the other side, so I've just put them here because I think I'm less likely to reach for them at this stage, but it's still a possibility. I've got Sally Rooney, Conversations with Friends, and Normal People. I've obviously watched the show but never read the book, so I have purchased this from a thrift store. It's secondhand, and again, same with Conversation with Friends, it's from a thrift store as well. I've been recommended this one by a friend to read, and then also this one I just want to read because I love the show so much, but I just don't know when I'm going to do it. A Cup of Zodiac by Alexis Gorgon. I just don't have room on the other side, but this is on my radar. It's not in the graveyard. I don't know if many people know about this one, but I know that this is more of like a grumpy sunshine trope, and there is a girl who's from a wealthy background, but she gets disowned by her family, so she has to go try and make it on her own. So she gets a job at a coffee shop. I was about to say cafe and coffee at the same time. She gets a job at a cafe. Her boss is extremely grumpy, very reluctant to hire her, but does it anyway. And I think they form a sort of a workplace romance between each other. And obviously by the title, it will involve astrology. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to read this. I just haven't got around to it yet. Faking It with a Billionaire by Willow Fox. I've been meaning to read this one for a while. I've been sent it by the author, but I've just unfortunately seen not good reviews of it. So it's really not made me interested to pick it up. They are all the books that are sitting in the graveyard, which means technically it's just the side of my TBR cart that faces the wall. So I do usually forget about them, but I will now take you through all of the books that are currently on my radar, which are the other side of the cart. I sorted out all the books into piles. I do have one for fantasy, one for just my general TBR, and then we've got one for my summer TBR, which I'm trying to read over the next few months. Let's go through the fantasy TBR firstly, because I will be putting them at the bottom of the shelf, because I most likely won't be reaching for too many of them during these next couple months, but I will probably still pick a few. I do have So Let Them Burn by Kamala Cole. This is a Jamaican-inspired fantasy book, and I did receive this from a publisher's. I don't know too much about it besides obviously how beautiful this cover is. It is stunning. There are dragons on it as well, so that is very exciting, and I believe this is a YA fantasy. Next, I have the Book of Azrael. This is by Amber V. Nicole. I know that this is part of maybe a 4 to 5 book series, so this is the first book. It is a thick book, and I do know that the other books are also quite chunky. That's probably what is holding me back from reading this at the moment. Oh, it does say it's got a bonus chapter inside. I didn't even notice that little. It's almost like a sticker, but it's not. It's strange. I don't know what that is. I do know there's a bit of a reluctant alliance between enemies, and they're trying to take back like the underworld or something, the ether world. It says Diana and Sam Kill are forced to set aside their animosity and work together before all is lost. That's basically what it is, but yeah, I don't think I'll be reaching this for any time soon after getting out of my slump. It is a bit of a chunky one, so it's kind of scary. Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. This was a recommendation from Destiny Sidwell. I think she read this in one of her reading vlogs maybe 4 months ago, probably longer, and as soon as I saw that she gave this a 4 stars, I went and grabbed it like probably maybe the next week because I really wanted to read it, and I just fell in love with this cover as it is. All I know is that this has got assassins, and I love a book with assassins, especially for fantasy. I think that they're just so much fun to read about, so yeah, I'm excited to read this. The Song of Achilles. I have recently picked this up. I know that this was massive, maybe 2020, 2021, when, you know, Book Talk Tube started taking off. I remember I saw this everywhere. I never read it. And then a friend of mine recently read it maybe a couple months ago. She said that it was incredible and she really enjoyed it. And now I'm like, let me just jump on the bandwagon, you know, like 4 years too late. I really want to understand all the quotes and all the best parts. But I did see Rachel Catherine's review of this recently, and she said that she went into this thinking that it was a romance and it really ruined the experience for her, so I do know that not to go in with expectations of this being a romance. Yeah, I'm gonna go in with that headspace and hopefully I have a better experience than what she did. Bride of the Shadow King. This is by Sylvia Mercedes. I actually saw Rachel Catherine again reading this after I had purchased it in a Waterstones and thought, today is the day, I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna choose one single book that I've not seen anyone talk about, and I picked it up in the fantasy section, took it home, and I was like, I'm gonna read it. I want to have that experience again where I find my own recommendations. I don't get told what to read by anyone else. And then I believe maybe 2 months later, Rachel had put up a review saying that she found this in her store randomly. She liked the cover, same as what I did. I mean, it's got a foiled cover, it's beautiful. She said that she really enjoyed the first one, and then she said she enjoyed the second book, but then the third book, it was dragging. So this sort of put it down a little bit for me, but I'm still intrigued to read this because I don't really know too much else. I haven't seen many other reviews. Like, I think Rachel's is the only other review I've seen of this book. As I mentioned earlier, I do have the Darker Shades of Magic, the first book by V.E. Schwab. I've never read a book by V.E. Schwab. This will be my first book by them. I'm very excited. I did get this this trilogy from Costco. I believe it was like £9 for the set, and it was so cheap. I had to get it. I just know it's a very popular series and they're a very popular author, so I just grabbed it while it was really cheap because books just aren't cheap like that anywhere else in the world besides here in the UK, and I don't have that much time left in the UK, so I thought I'm gonna grab as many as I can while I'm still here. Next I have God Killer, which is by Hannah Kaner. I got this from a thrift shop. It was only £1, which maybe £2. This was a Waterstones monthly book club pick, and I saw it every time I went into the shop near my local Waterstones, and I just grabbed it while I saw it at the thrift shop. But I know that that cover is so cool, and my partner is obsessed with Dear. He's obsessed with this book, and he's like, I want to read that. Either if I don't read it, he'll most likely read it, and then I can understand if he likes it, and if he likes it, I might give it a go. He probably will be the first one to read this before I do. I do have 2 books from the same series on this side. I really should put the other one on the other side, but I've got the Daughter of the Moon Goddess series, and this is Heart of the Sun Warrior. This is Su Lin Tan. I purchased these purely based on the cover. I know that they're very popular, and everyone says that they love this book, but some people have said that this one was a bit of a letdown because I believe this is just a duology, so these are the only 2. I honestly just bought them because I really like the covers. I think that they're stunning and it really drew me in, and I want to know more about it. They're so pretty, like look at them. Stunning. I'm going to put this one on the back. She needs to go in the graveyard. I have these Hollow Vows by Lexi Wren. I know that this is a duology, possibly, from my memory. And I actually got this one as well from the thrift shop. It was £1. I purchased this because of the cover. I saw that there were 3 people on the front, and I thought this looks like a love triangle. I do love myself a love triangle sometimes, and at that time that I purchased it, I was reading a love triangle book, so I was really in the mood for it. Then I went online and looked at the Goodreads to see how many books were in the series after I'd purchased it, to be like, I hope I've not purchased a book for, you know, a 7-book series. And then the cover on book 2 only had 2 characters on the front, so I think I know which one of these boys wins in the love triangle, but I guess we'll see when I read it. But it could have been spoiled purely based on the cover, and authors shouldn't do that. They really should be careful what they're putting on the cover. Next I have the Big Mama of Big Mamas. We've got the Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. She is a chunky boy. I'm petrified to read this and get into it. Not only is this a chunky book, but this is like a high stakes fantasy. Like, this is a true fantasy book, and I do love me some romance. I don't even know if there's romance in this. It's kind of scaring me. I need some form of romance to like put me through, even if it's like minuscule. I don't even care. I just need some form of like, I know 2 people are going to end up together, but I'll still read all that fantasy just for that, you know, 3 seconds on a page. I will do it. But I just need clarification that there is some form of romance in this, or I might need to sell it. I'm kidding. I will get around to this one day. I'm just really scared. We have 6 Crimson Creams by Elizabeth Lim, and I, again, bought this because of the cover. The colours are stunning, the little sunset that's going on, the cranes on it. And I do know that this is I think it's Chinese. Let me double check. Possibly Japanese. Let me have a look. I was just reading. So cranes are highly symbolic for both Chinese and Japanese culture, and they represent longevity and immortality. But it does look like this book, it says that it blends East Asian mythology and culture with popular fairy tales to create a beautiful romantic story with sweet romance, sibling bonds, magic, adventure, and best of all, dragons. That sounds really good. Another great thing, it's a duology. That is just perfect for me because me with fantasy series, I'm scared to commit to reading a book when I know that there's like 8 books in the series. So knowing that this is a duology, it makes it that little bit better because I don't have to worry about, you know, being committed, putting myself in a new series when I've got so many on the go at the moment. Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I know that this is her first series, so I did only purchase the first book because I have not read any of their books yet. I haven't even read Babel or nothing, but I wanted to start at the very beginning and then go through the backlist. I feel like that, yeah, this is an elite military school, so there is like a schooling experience within this. There will be a lot of training, that sort of thing, which I'm very much looking forward to. Emily Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is by Heather Fawcett. I've been recommended this book by so many people. I've seen so many reviews of this, and it is a very short fantasy book. I know book 2 has just come out, and I believe that this might be part of like a 4-book series or maybe a trilogy. I'm not 100% sure. I know this is more of like a cozy fantasy following this girl who's very much addicted to like writing this encyclopedia of the fairies, and it's like the most important thing of this book. It's a lot more of like a slow-paced fantasy, and there is then again a romance slowly building towards the end, but it's not really like the main plot point of a book. Okay, the rest that I have for this little pile before I get onto my summer TBR, this is more like romance and some literary in here. So I'll start with the literary fiction and also a classics. I have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I've not read this book. I know it went viral like 2 years ago. Maybe, was it last year? I can't even remember, but I need to read this. I want to read it so bad, but the gaming aspect and all of that was scary at first. And also just like following along with like a story plot following friends. But now that I've read A Little Life and I know that that isn't like so scary, I'm kind of excited to read this now because you get so much drama from, you know, a friendship group and so much can happen. So I think that that will have all of that in here. It will be like very entertaining. Really good actually by Monica Heasey. This was suggested to me by a friend. I've heard some mixed reviews. I've heard a few people say that they love this book. Other people said that it was okay. I've not read a general fiction book like this one before where it's more following a woman after her divorce. This will be an interesting read for me, something that will be a little bit out of my comfort zone. We'll see if this is like a style of book that I'm interested in for the future. I mean, I'm always looking to try and change up what type of books I'm reading. Okay, this one is like a bit of a tongue twister for me. I need to like read it while I'm saying the title. It's I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpin. This again was recommended to me by my friend who recommended me the other book. It is a short book. It is a classic. I think this is more of a dystopian situation because one of the first sentences for the synopsis is, deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. That is the first sentence of the synopsis. Very interesting. I think it will definitely be a more stranger read for me, but I'm interested because I think that is just a concept of a book that I've not really read yet, and it may evoke some emotions out of me. I'm not sure. We will see. I do have The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I've not got around to reading this one yet. I think it's just a book that I know it's going to be for a spicy read when I need a spicy book. I know it's a single dad. She's an ex-OF creator, and when the mood sparks, I will reach for it. A Shot in the Dark by Victoria Lee. This was sent to me by the publishers. I don't know much else about this. I've forgotten. I read the description a while ago. So this is a queer book. Oh, this is a great time. I should read this month. Wyatt Cole has recently come out as transgender, and we've also got Alishva Cohen, and they've recently just had a one-night stand before they find out that Wyatt is her teacher. Interesting. I didn't think that this was about this. I don't know what. I might pick this book up this month, being Pride Month. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I know, it's been on the TBR for well over a year now, and I will get to this one day. I promise. I promise it's still there. It's in the front. I'm not gonna forget it. First Down by Grace Riley. I will get to this as well. When I'm in the mood for a sports romance, I will grab this. I've not read any of Grace Riley's work previously, but I have been in a romance mood recently, so this could be a possibility. I don't know. Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. I'm dying to read more of her work. I'm obsessed with her writing. I read Out on a Limb last year, I believe, fell in love with it, and now this has just recently been republished, and yeah, I picked it up straight away as soon as I saw it. It was like £5, so cheap. I've heard great things about this. I cannot wait to read it, and it looks very cozy, so maybe when I have a rainy day this summer, I can pick this one up. We've gone through all of the books that are on my TBR, besides now my more summer reads that I want to get to this summer. I'm probably going to rapid fire through these because I do have quite a few, and then I've also got some unreleased books that I want to mention as well. So I do have The Long Game by Elena Armas. I know that they're wearing not so much summer clothes, but I do want to read this because it is a sports romance, and I have been again in that romance mood. I need to get it done. It's been out for so long now. Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I haven't even read When in Rome, but I do have this one, so I need to read both of those. I think this is actually the second book in that little interconnected series. And I mean, the flowers on here are just giving me summer vibes, so it's on the summer TBR. Now, it wouldn't be a summer TBR without a book from Elizabeth O'Rourke because she does write the best summer reads, and we do have her summer series, which I have The Summer I Destroyed You by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This is the most recent release for that series. I've read the other three up there. If you haven't read any of Elizabeth O'Rourke's books, they are so fast paced, so quick, so easy to digest. You'll love them. So yeah, I have to read this one before summer ends. I do have Christina and Lauren's new book, The Paradise Problem. I've not read a Christina and Lauren book ever in my life. I do know that I need to read Love in Other Words, but I've just never got around to it, and now that I have this may be the introduction that I need to their style of writing. I have Mia Sheridan's new book, which is Falling for Gage. I've not read her other recent release. Oh, I forgot his name already. I've forgotten. But I've not read that one, but I do want to read this one. The last book I read of Mia Sheridan's was Archer's Voice, so I need to get back into more of her backlist because I really enjoyed that book, but I've not seen any reviews of this so far, so yeah, I want to get into this before I start seeing other people talking about it. Catherine Center, The Bodyguard. I've heard so many great reviews about this book. I believe she is actually the bodyguard, and she is then having to fake date this guy to make sure that while they're staying at his parents' house and they don't find out that he has a stalker, and they're just trying to not stress her out. So in order to not make her feel stressed about having a bodyguard there, they pretend to fake date. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one, and the cover screams summer. I do have The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy. At least I've got one Elle Kennedy book that I can start, and I don't think this is related to any other series that she has, so I'm hoping I can just go into this one without any issues. Unsteady by Peyton Corrin. This is a book that I'm dying to read. I have tried to read this in the last 2 videos that I've done. It hasn't worked, but I'm gonna read this summer. It's gonna be done. Everyone loves this book, so yeah, I want to see what all the fuss is about. I've got Butcher and Blackbird, and I've got the new release Leather and Luck. I've not read either of these. I'm gonna have to start with this, then go into the second book. It is a serial killer rom-com. I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I've got them and I'm going to read them. I have a new release coming up, which is Casey McQuiston's new book. It comes out on 6th of August. It is The Pairing. Yeah, I'm very happy to have this in my hands, and it will be read, trust me. I do also have an arc for Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This is a book that's on my current TBR for this month, but it's also going to be on my summer TBR, just in case I don't get to it this month, but I will be getting to it at some point if I don't already read it this month. But it comes out in September of 2024. It is a cozy little fantasy, and it's about a girl trying to get back her powers. Now we do have my favorite book of last year. This is the last physical book on my TBR. It is Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. It is the republished version. It has been edited from the original one that I have up there, the indie cover, and I need to reread it, see what's changed, what bits she's added, and decide if I still love it as much as the first one, which I'm sure I will because the first one was just so incredible. I'm so excited to have this ARC version. It's stunning! I know I just went through my summer TBR, but I've just realized that I hadn't included an entire half of my bottom shelf that is more books for my TBR. Let's rapid fire through these books, shall we? I do have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis, and it is the special exclusive edition with sprayed edges. I'm obsessed with this hardcover. It's beautiful, but it is secondhand, so it is a little bit dodgy. But I got it for like £3. It was incredibly cheap, so I had to grab it. I have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. This is the hardback copy. That's how long I've owned this. I think this may even be out in paperback already now. So yeah, I will get to this probably more in the winter months. I just don't know if I'll get to it during summer. Some more books that I'm probably going to save for winter are, we've got Feybound. This is a romantasy. I believe this may be sapphic. Yeah, I think the cover's beautiful. The Familiar by Lee Bardo. I've had mixed reviews, and that sort of put me off a little bit from picking this one up. I'll probably pick this one up when I'm in the mood, when it's the colder months. I feel like this will be good. Possibly like maybe around October. Talking at Night by Claire Dabley. I possibly could pick this up during summer. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard really amazing things about this book. Some people have said that it's gonna be their top read for last year overall so far that they've had. So I need to read this one soon. I've heard incredible things. I have 2 books by J. Daniels. I have What I Need and When I Fall. I don't know when I'll read these. I didn't like the first book in the series. I believe these may be book 3 and 5. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I've just not had an inkling to pick them up because the author's writing in that first book was just not the best. I have In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. I'm needing to read this one very soon. I keep seeing it everywhere now, and I really just want to read it this month, especially Pride Month. I want to. It's literary fiction, and apparently it's very sad. It's set in World War II. I'm here for the pain, but I probably need a little bit of extra time before starting it after a little life. The next 4 books are books that I've been sent by publishers, which I do need to read again very soon. So I've got How to Leave the House by Nathan Newman. I do have The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick. I have Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan. And I do have Ghost Chili by Nikita Bakshani, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I just really enjoyed this cover. I think it's so beautiful. I might even read this summer because it's giving me summer. I like the bright colors. They were all the books that I had left on my shelf, so now we're done. I have way too many books to read. That is ridiculous. Let's go through my phone because I did write down some notes of some books that are coming up that I do want to read over the next few months. We do have Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. I did read Love Redesigned at the start of this year and I did enjoy it. It wasn't my favorite book of Lauren Asher's, but I did still enjoy that series and I do love her billionaire books, so yeah, I'm excited to read the next one. Then we do have Daydream by Hannah Grace. This will be the third book in the, oh no, she's changed the name of it. It's the Maple Hills series now, isn't it? I was about to say the HCMU or whatever it was. So that one's coming out very soon and I'm dying to read it. It is going to be probably the best book in the series, I just know it. A new book that's coming out this month, which I've actually never read this author's books previously, but I will need to get to them. But this cover is so beautiful and so summery that I just need to read it. It is a novel love story by Ashley Poston, and I believe this actually follows a female main character who gets stuck in a romance book, and it sounds so interesting and I cannot wait to read it. Then we do have Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Dying to read it. I cannot wait. And I've been saying this about every single book, but I will be the first one to purchase that book in store that day. So yeah, very excited. And the last one I can think off the top of my memory is Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. So that is probably the last one that I can think of off the top of my head. But if I do have any other books that I'm very excited to read, I will put them all on the screen, the ones that I've missed, that I know that there's probably going to be a few at least in there. Yeah, there's just so many new releases coming out. I can't even keep up these days. It's just insane. That was kind of nice and therapeutic to go through all of the books that I have to read. It also has made me realize that I have a book buying problem where I will buy a book knowing that I'm not going to read it straight away. And I need to stop doing that. I should only buy books that I know I'm going to read there and then. Otherwise, I'm going to have to just continue reading what I've already got and not buy any more books. That is a crime, but I need to. I appreciate you guys if you're still watching and you're still here with me. This has been a long time of me sitting here going through all of my books. If you've made it this far into the video, please make sure to comment down below a little sunflower emoji for summer. I am so excited that it's finally here, and maybe this year I can get a little bit of a tan if I go outside enough, but the UK weather is not the best. It can be very bipolar, so I don't really know what we're gonna get this summer. I'm hoping we get some at least 30-degree days in there somewhere, but we didn't get any last year that I can remember. I'm gonna love you and leave you there, but I will see you guys in my next video. It's my new way of saying goodbye to you guys. Love you!